Yes. That's the short answer. The long answer is that, you know, the presence was there until each temple was destroyed or thereabouts, you know. In the period before it's destroyed is when things start to go wrong. But as you asked and we spoke about last time, or the time before, that, you know, there was this buildup. You begin with the anchoring of the soul and everything they went through in their lives, and all of those who went down to Egypt, and then the great revelation in Sinai. And there's this infusion of power into the people and into the work. And they carry that through into the land and build this temple and create this whole center point of spiritual power with a whole tribe, you know, the whole of the Levim that are serving as Levites and as priests and living a life of purity and focused holiness that enables that energy to be there to grow, and the nature of the land and the power of Israel and all these things creating this incredibly powerful spiritual presence that radiates throughout the whole world, or at least that part of the world, what was the ancient world. And that presence, you know, so is one way of building the temple, right? And if you remember, at some point we've talked about that, you know, the teaching from the Sakarcheva Rebbe that the temple was originally supposed to be a temple of light and consciousness. It wasn't supposed to be a physical place. But after he made the golden calf, God saw our human need for something physical. And he gave us a physical temple to build. But that's like a evolving process. And so, you know, in some ways, when the temple was destroyed, it's a huge loss. But on the other hand, it's a door opening to create a place where every person becomes a priest, and every home and synagogue becomes a temple, every holy place becomes a temple. And then the Baal Shem Tov really talks, you know, well, then the Kabbalists talk about, you know, you're building a temple in the heavens, and it's a spiritual structure. And then the Baal Shem Tov says, well, we're the temple, each and every one of us. God says, you know, they'll build me a sanctuary and I'll dwell inside you, right? And so then, and he says, listen, if stone and metal and wood and skins, the hides can hold the presence of God, certainly a human being can. And so it says, we're all meant to be temples. You know? We're all meant to be walking mobile temples. We're tabernacles, right? The tabernacle was this tent they could take apart and move from place to place. Well, we're tabernacles. We're moving temples. Now we're supposed to dedicate our home and our lives and sanctify them and build through meditation and a life of purity and spiritual practice this link with our higher selves, with that great temple in the heavens, that great network of souls and light of energy that are trying to bring God's presence in the world. And what was our original mission? Asuli mikdash v'shulchanti b'tocham. Build me a temple and I'll dwell among you. So our mission is to anchor the presence of God in this world in so many different levels and ways. But one of the most powerful and highest levels is where we do it by that inner work of connecting to that greater reality and being a vehicle for that reality to come into this world. And then you get the Sokacheva teaching that, you know, the third temple is going to be that ethereal temple. It's going to be that temple of light and energy as it's originally supposed to be. We'll have evolved to the place where we don't need to have that physical temple. Though he says, because he has to cover himself, and perhaps is there, because still, you know, we'd like to have something physical. So we may build a physical temple, And maybe we build temples in various places, but there will be a place where people can be, that they can know this is the house of God, right? Though every person, every home is a house of God. So you have both processes, but you're building a center point of energy where it's concentrated and anchored. And, we can't go into the Holy of Holies, so we go into the inner temple of our heart. Because that's the real temple, right? If you remember, when I talk about the story of Yaakov, of Father Jacob, right? That he's running away from his brother after he's stolen the birthright, and his brother says he's going to kill him. And he comes to this place, and he says, "V'yivka b'makom." He touched the place. And the rabbis say, Lashon, anytime you use the language "v'yivka," touching it, it means prayer. So that place becomes a place of profound prayer from his deepest place of his heart. And then he has the vision of the ladder with angels going up and down and God looking down from above. And that ends up creating this incredible awareness. And he wakes up and he says, "Oh my God, what an awesome place this is. It's the house of God and the gateway to heaven, and I didn't even know it. I thought it was a physical place that you had to go to, but it's inside everybody. It's an inner reality." So there's the temple and there's the temple. But we have to bring it in the world. We have to bring it into reality. Within ourselves, within our world. And as China Bear is commenting that, we're using technology to help us build that temple, right? The internet is cyberspace. We're creating cyberspace, or we're using really cyberspace to help us connect in this way, to help the energy flow between us, to create a global spiritual network of light and connection and support, and people working to bring God into the world. But it's just a taste of it's a outer expression of an inner reality. That inner reality. We want to get to the point where we don't need the internet anymore, but that might take a while yet. And this point of the year, when you missed the very beginning, but when I first started the session, I was saying how it's a time of approach when the soul of Israel is closer, where they're really coming close. There's this opening. It's as if the veil between the worlds is splitting apart. And at this time, as we move into Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur, that soul is very close. And therefore, this capacity to build the temple, to bring the presence in and experience that presence is that much greater, to enter into that inner temple and higher reality becomes more alive, so that at Yom Kippur, we can walk into the Holy of Holies and go through the inner transformation, same way the Kohen did thousands of years ago.